funnel hacks, how to build an engaged list. So that's what we're going to chat about today. You're probably like everybody else. Have you heard that expression that email is dead? Well, guess what? It's not. It's not dead. And that's what today's presentation is all about. We're going to dig into why you need to make sure that you're using email in the right way. Some little hacks that I have to help you to make sure that you can build an engaged list and that you won't be penalized by people that's on your list or sending to dead lists, things like that. Now, before I go any further, I'm just going to escape out of here just for a second. I don't know. I tell you what, I hate having to layer all of these different components. I'm just going to do it this way. It's not as pretty, but when I do it full screen, I'm not for sure. I can't see the comments, and I'm not for sure if you're seeing the whole thing or not. If you're watching this, give me a thumbs up if you can see the whole thing. So let's just, we'll just keep doing it this way. So email is not dead. So let me just share some numbers with you here. I'm going to, you know what? I'm just going to go back into slideshow because it just looks so much prettier. All right. What's interesting is back in, I think, 2009, Wall Street Journal said that email is dead. You shouldn't be using it, all of that kind of stuff. But then guess what? In 2019, the Wall Street Journal came out with an article that said email is the hot new channel for your marketing. So I'm sure that you keep hearing this, email's dead, it's not dead. It is not dead. And there's almost 1 million legitimate emails that go out every second. That is just mind-blowing to even try to comprehend that number. But more importantly, about 95% of consumers check their email at least once a day. And the other good news is about 60% of customers or potential customers prefer email. And that's for the age group 25 and above. So I thought that's very fascinating. And again, email is not dead. So the good news that we're bringing out here that I'm trying to stress is people do read their emails. A little side point, I had heard that people go onto social media when they're bored, when they want to be entertained. People get into their inbox or their email sometimes when they're procrastinating. So what does that mean? They should be working. They want to feel like they're accomplishing something and they just can't get their head wrapped around that deep work. So what do? They check their email because they feel like that they're still working, that they're still accomplishing something. So people are reading their emails. And the other good news is people still buy through emails. They still engage. They still click those buttons. And the best thing of all, the email platform is an excellent way to build your know, like, and trust. So as you're building your list, building your lead population, it's all about drawing people to you so that you can showcase your skills, your expertise, building that know, like, and trust. And so you can do that through your email. So your email list is your golden egg of anything in your business. You need to build your email list, you need to guard it, and you need to prune it, which we're going to talk about in just a little bit. The bad news about emails, I just heard this statistic the other day, 30% of email accounts get abandoned yearly. So you create an email account on Gmail and then you abandon it, maybe because that's the one you use to get all your junk mail and you don't want to deal with the 10,000 emails in there. So about 30%. That's the bad news. The other bad news for the entrepreneur that's out there using email for marketing is you'll send emails, and a lot of times it goes straight into their spam folder and they never see it. And if you're not using the right marketing program, you never know that it ends up in spam. The other bad thing is with email, they might fat finger it. So they're filling out that little contact form and they accidentally hit the wrong letter. They don't realize it. They think they've given you a good email, and it's going off into Never Never Land. And the bad news with email list is it can be very costly to you on a lot of different levels. So what I mean by that is, one, physically it can cost you money if, depending on who your emailed marketing system is through, they will charge you based on how many people are in your list. It's also costly to you, which I'll talk about in a few minutes. But if you have a huge list and the open rate is very low, that's going to cost you. So what that means is if you're sending out emails that no one ever opens, and because you're sending them out to a bad list, then these email providers start marking you as, oh, she's just a spammer. So it can be very costly to you. So what do? How do you combat that problem? The first thing is, excuse me. The first thing is you need to make sure that you're using a marketing platform with very high standards, with good deliverable rates, deliverability rates. Try to say that 10 times. So as I've said before, I use Kartra. Kartra is an all-in-one marketing system. They are rated very high on how many emails get delivered. And we're not just talking about physically getting that email delivered, but the receiving end being willing to accept. So it's kind of like, think of that post office, and they have a locked door and they're only going to unlock it to those vendors that they truly trust. So whatever email system you're using, make sure that it has a good deliverability rate. And sad to say, sometimes the free programs out there, they don't have a very good rate. So that could hurt you in the long run. And then what else can you do? You want to make sure that you practice what I call good list hygiene, and make sure that you have a sunset policy. So let me explain what I mean by those. So in your list management, as you're emailing people, ask them to whitelist you. And what that means is it's different for each email program. And I'll put a link down below in the comments so that you can get the directions on how to whitelist. It's different based on which service you use. So if you use Google, if you use Hotmail, if you use Gmail, whatever it is, there's just usually a little simple 3 or 4 steps. But basically people click on your email and they flag it to let the email provider know that, yes, I do want to get email from deb@starconsulting.net. So that's what whitelisting does. So that's one thing that you could encourage, especially your new people, your new leads. Maybe somebody signed up for that really juicy freebie or something. The other thing that you want to think about, and I've said this in other videos, is make sure that you give value so that people are wanting to open the emails. Now, I'm seeing a lot of like template little packages that you can buy, $9, $12, $29, get all your emails written for the next year, or things like that. The problem with that is it's not you. Yes, maybe it takes a little longer for you to sit down and actually create your emails. But if it's not coming from you, if they're not authentic, if you're not talking about that expertise and talking about this specific pain problem and how you can help, then really what good is it? And what good is it if all of a sudden you're getting all these emails and they're all sounding very similar? So you want to make sure that you're giving value on all of your emails. The other thing that you want to do is you want to be able to track their activities with the email. And I'll talk about that in a couple slides here also. If your marketing system or email system doesn't give you that option, depending on how big your list is, even if you only have a couple hundred people, that's very important, because you want to make sure that your list, that those leads are engaging. And then another thing you can do is send out what they call the 9-word email. So basically just very simple, but you're sending out an email to try to get them engaged. So sometimes it's something as simple as, hey, what are you struggling with? Or it might be, what's the name of your business? Or, hey, I'm collecting jokes. Can you share your favorite joke? But something very short. 9 words is supposed to be the optimal, and something that they can have a very quick respond. Hit reply and say yes or no, or I don't know, ask them to vote on something. People always like sharing their opinions, but the idea is something very quick, but you want them to engage. And if they reply back, what happens in the back end? That email service provider says, oh, they must really like this person because they responded back. So it kind of elevates you in the pool of all of these emails coming in. Some tips for engagement, because again, you don't want to play this game by yourself. You want them engaging with you. Now, this first tip here, I just recently heard about this, and at first I thought, oh, I don't know if I want to do this, but studies have shown that it really does make a difference if you use their name in the subject line. Now, if you're using an automated system like Kartra, for instance, it's very easy to do that. It's just a code, and a lot of other systems do that also. You just put that code in the subject line, and it will imprint that person's first name. And another thing is, in the email, ask them, what are you struggling with the most? And again, people can tell if you're real. They can tell if you really are interested in them. So use your own language. And whenever people do respond to you, make sure that you get back right away. Don't use some kind of a bot. Don't use a third-party system that's just sending out canned responses. If you ask for something, make sure that you're available and you can respond. The bottom line is be personable. Let them know as you're sending out these emails that there's a human on one end and you're communicating to one person. So what I mean by that is, as you're writing the email, think of one person and write to that person. Other people are going to connect with it also, because they're all your ideal avatars, hopefully, or ideal client. But in your mind, think about just writing to one person. And then the last thing here is just straight out ask them, are you still interested? Yes or no? And let them know it's okay if you're not. Just say, I'm doing some house cleaning here. And if you're not interested in the ABC, that you first signed up, that's fine. I'll remove you from the list. The next thing that I want to talk about is sunsetting old leads. Now, this is a term that's used with basically if somebody's on your list and they have not engaged. And what I mean by engaged, they have not even at least opened any emails. All 20 emails that you sent in the sequence, they've never opened a one. You might want to think about sunsetting them. Or you might want to have a policy that every 6 months, if somebody has not engaged, then you want to remove them. Now, when you're first building your list, this can feel kind of counterintuitive, or, it feels kind of like, well, I don't want to delete them from my list. I've worked hard to get them. But going back to some of those costs, if you have a list and let's say only 10% of the people on your list are engaging in the sense of at least reading your emails, then really you've got this dead weight, and it's going to ultimately weigh down the analytics of you sending things out. So don't be afraid to clean your list, come up with a policy so that you know when to sunset them. With Kartra, I love the analytics that's available, and it's super easy to use. You can look at all of your list. You can look individually. You can see everything that those leads are doing with your email. You can track if they opened it. You can track if they click on any of the links. So if you have a link saying, hey, click here to watch my YouTube video, or click here to get the freebie, you can track all of that. Now, I will say, me personally, I don't like getting an email from somebody that says, hey, Debbie, I see you haven't opened my last 3 emails. Even though I understand how all of this automation happens in the background, it just makes me feel kind of icky. It's like, I don't need Big Brother watching me. But you can still track all of that. And if somebody maybe opens half your emails, then at least you know that they're somewhat interested. Maybe they get sidetracked, or maybe it gets buried. If you're in the middle of marketing or creating a sequence and they do open some of your emails, but this one they didn't, then you could resend that email to them and just say, hey, I want to make sure that you saw this email. So there's ways of working around it. But again, if you don't know those analytics, it's kind of hard to do that. So it's hard to sunset those old leads. Another thing that I love to do, which I'll show in another training video, is within Kartra, you can actually assign points. So I give all of my leads points when they open an email. And I was thinking, I should share that and create a little contest. Whoever gets 500 points will win a free coaching call with me, something like that. But again, the whole idea is you want to build an engaged list. And if you have people that's on your list, they never opened any email, it's time to look at maybe moving them off your list. So just as a quick wrap up, building your email list is essential. It's so important. That's the gold of your business, the lifeblood of your business, because without people, you don't have a platform to sell to, regardless of what it is that you're offering. And be real in your emails. Just be yourself. Again, your ideal client is going to resonate with your voice. They're going to hear you. They're going to want to connect with you. And make sure that you clean your list. Have some kind of a system, even if it's every 6 months, to look at your list, figure out how to clean it, and know your numbers, know the analytics, know who are those people that open them, who are the people that are really loving your emails because they click on all the links and all that kind of stuff. So just kind of as a little segue, a little shameless plug here, if you're ready to launch, if you would love to launch your online business, or maybe you have an online business, but you're looking at revamping it, or maybe you want to take your genius and put it into an online course, whatever facet you are trying to launch, I am getting ready to launch in a few weeks something called the Online Business Launchpad. And it's going to be a group program, but within 6 to 8 weeks, you will have everything built, all of these email sequences, everything that you need from A to Z to get your business launched. So I'm super excited about that. And if you want to be put on the wait list just to find out when it is launching, I'm going to have that link in the comments, and you're welcome to sign up for that. And then just to let you know that I do offer one-to-one coaching where you just want to get it done. I will work with you and we will get to the finish line with your business. And then the last resource is my Facebook group, Systems to Scale. If you're watching this live, as I'm doing a Facebook Live, then tell your friends, other people that want to learn some of the tech and automation and systems hack so that I can help them with that. All right, so let me quit sharing my screen here. So that's it for today. I hope that some of these email funnel hacks will help you. I mean, I could go on and on about all the tips and tricks within Kartra, things that you can do to automate it. Regardless of what email system you're using, make sure that you clean your list, that you're engaging with your people, you're giving them something of value, and you'll be able to build your list. So have a great day, and I'll see you on the next video.